Hello, and welcome to another fact-filled episode from the Numbers of Thoth, brought to you by Martin and Julia Herdman. Today, as promised, we're taking an in-depth look at the symbolism of Tutankhamun's gold dagger. The dagger was found wrapped in the young king's mummy bandages and was accompanied by an iron dagger of Hittite origin. For more on the Hittite dagger, see our video entitled Tutankhamun's Iron Dagger. We begin by looking at what Egyptologists have said about this highly decorative gold knife, then we add some of our own thoughts using our research. The knife was found underneath one of the girdles placed around the waist of the dead king's mummy and measures 31.9 centimeters. According to the Yale Egyptologists John Coleman Darnell and Colleen Manasseh, the gold dagger was ceremonial in design. Since the earliest times, the possession of gold has been synonymous with wealth. Unchangeable and permanent, gold bestowed a certain status on its possessor. Its unique properties and symbolism, such as its color and luster, were equated with the sun's brilliance. It was regarded as a divine and imperishable substance. Its untarnishing nature provided a metaphor for eternal life, and its brightness reminded the Egyptians of the brilliance of the sun god Re. According to British Egyptologist Toby Wilkinson, gold was supposed to contain supernatural qualities and was a manifestation of Egyptian belief in immortality, and in the afterlife, and so, it was termed the flesh of the gods. The hilt of the gold dagger is particularly ornate, comprising alternating bands of granulated gold and cloisonné bands of lapis lazuli, carnelian, malachite and colored glass. Lapis lazuli, exquisite, was prized most highly by the Egyptians, who placed it immediately after gold and silver in their lists of valuable materials. This dark blue stone was the color of the all-embracing night sky, and the word was a synonym for joy and delight and was traditionally associated with wisdom. Carnelian and the color red was associated with blood, energy, power and life and, by extension, also associated with the desert god Set, the god of chaos and storms. Malachite is a green stone believed to protect one from evil. In ancient Egypt, green was highly symbolic, representing new life and fertility. The manufactured glass was referred to as stone that flows. Glass was afforded high status and was used to create a range of symbolically important colors. There are cartouches bearing Tutankhamun's name on top of the hilt made of applied embossed reddish-tinged gold, suggesting it was hardened with the addition of copper, indicating that this blade was indeed made in Egypt. The dagger sheath is also very decorative. Made of sheet gold delicately inlaid with what Egyptologists have described as hunting scenes showing lions and gazelle, resembling royal desert hunts. These hunts, we are informed, should not be understood as royal leisure activities but as rituals where the king is portrayed as the lion, demonstrating his power and fitness to rule. The main scene, embossed in high relief, is composed of the following elements: an ibex attacked by a lion, a calf with a dog on its back biting the calf's tail, a leopard and a lion attacking a male gazelle from above and below, a dog biting a bull, and lastly a calf in full flight. Interspersed between the animals are stylized plants, and a more elaborate floral device occupies the pointed base. Given the description of lions, leopards and dogs, this seems to be an unlikely hunting scene. Instead, it is more an illustration of nature, ruthless in tooth and claw. Perhaps we should look at the mythical significance of this battle between predators and their prey in Egyptian mythology to get a clearer idea of what its symbolism means. The gazelle and the lion. In ancient Egypt, the desert was called Gehesti and the place of the two gazelles. It was the place where Osiris was sought, found and resurrected in the pyramid texts. Gehesti was associated with Nephthys, the goddess of doom and completion on the head end of the sarcophagus of Padi Cemetery, and with Isis and Hathor in the Jummi papyrus. So, it seems likely that the two female gazelles symbolized the goddesses of the royal household, Isis and Nephthys. Some confirmation of this assertion can be found in the fact that Set as a place has been linked to the Temple of Khomir in the Third Nome of Upper Egypt. The temple lies about 15 kilometers south of the city of Esna and was the center of the worship of Nephthys from the New Kingdom into Greco-Roman times, and was also the site of the Gazelle catacombs, where scientific investigations have shown that many of these Gazelle mummies were female. Support for the idea that the goddess Isis was the second Gazelle in the place of the two Gazelles comes from a story inscribed in the cliffs at Wadi Hammamat made in the time of the pharaoh Mentuhotep IV. In this story, a heavily pregnant gazelle approaches men working in one of the royal quarries and settles on the piece of stone reserved for the lid of the king's coffin. When the animal gave birth on the chosen slab, the workers believed it was a sign from the gods, so the animal's throat was cut, and its body was given as a burnt offering. This, on the face of it, this strange birth doesn't seem like much of a miracle, and it was undoubtedly unfortunate for the gazelle and her calf. But, in the mind of the ancient Egyptians, by giving birth on the slab designated as the pharaoh's sarcophagus lid, the gazelle imbued the royal sarcophagus with her generative power. In this way, the animal was ensuring the king would be reborn in the afterlife, just as Isis had reassembled the parts of her dead husband Osiris and brought him back to life. And so, the stone was viewed as blessed by the goddess Isis in gazelle form, who gives birth to Horus, who is represented as the unmolested bull calf at the bottom of the image. Horus was the child of her dead husband, Osiris. Horus's posthumous birth allows the ancient line of kingship to continue and restores balance to the world. Nephthys and Isis, the goddesses of ends and beginnings in the form of gazelles, are pursued and attacked by lions and dogs, animals traditionally connected with the god of chaos Set. In the myths, Set kills his brother Osiris, and then pursues his wife Isis, and her child Horus, into the marshes, where he tries to kill them. With the help of Nephthys and Thoth, Isis and Horus are saved, and Horus grows up to reclaim his father's throne. Thus, the image is one of life triumphing over death, and the continuation of the royal line. Along with the golden dagger, Tutankhamun was buried with 4 more objects employing the gazelle motif: a bow case, a painted chest, an embroidered tunic, and a perfume jar. The lion. Bold and virile, cruel and unpredictable, fierce and mighty, the lion conveyed many meanings to the ancient Egyptians. Sometimes only the context can determine which contradictory meanings should be applied, and sometimes, the contradictions are what is central to its symbolic meaning. In many ways, the lion was a quintessential Egyptian symbol, having emerged from prehistory as a fully formed image representing the gods and the king that defined Egypt. Over time, it accumulated additional meanings without losing the old ones or undermining the integrity of the symbol itself. Pharaohs sometimes kept lions as pets or hunted them to show that they were in control of these wild and powerful beasts. However, as we can see on the dagger sheath, the lion represents the unfettered power of the god Set attacking Isis or Nephthys. Dog attacks the bull calf. The bull calf was a powerful image in ancient Egypt. It represented the child Horus, the young bull who would grow up to be the bull of the corporation or the king. Horus in bull form is usually represented by the god Montu. In public ceremonies, however, the bull's power was more frequently evoked by adding a ceremonial bull's tail to the king's costume. Indeed, the festival of the bull's tail, the Hebsed, was the single most important festival for a monarch. The Hebsed was the Jubilee festival of renewal performed by the king after 30 years of reign or more frequently at times of crisis. In this image, we see the dog, most probably representing the god of chaos Set, trying to bite off the all-important tail symbolizing the destruction of the king, the ibex. Egyptologists described the ibex as an animal that was thought by the ancient Egyptians to bring good luck because of its ability to survive in the desert, where it survives without water for long periods. And for its split hooves that enable it to navigate the high reaches of the mountain ridges and get closer to the sky, the place where the gods were thought to live. The coat of the Nubian ibex is light reddish-brown. Its underbelly is lighter, almost white. The males have a dark stripe along their back as well as on their front legs. Like other members of this antelope subfamily, the male ibex has a beard that is often darker than the color of its coat. Color was a significant source of meaning in ancient Egypt. The red-brown of the animal's coat symbolized the sun, its white underbelly and its black stripes of the moon. The beard was one of the primary symbols of kingship. And so we see the king, or the god King Osiris, as a male ibex being attacked by the forces of chaos. The leopard. Many pieces from the tomb of Tutankhamun took the form of a cheetah or a leopard. A gilded wood statue is one of a pair featuring king on the back of a leopard. A gilded wood funeral bed took the shape of a cheetah, and two wood-backed shields are covered with cheetah skin with gold plate. The leopard was an important symbol to the ancient Egyptians. The goddess Sheath, the architect of darkness, was depicted as a woman dressed in a leopard skin tunic. The dress symbolized the night sky stars and was associated with eternity and the regenerative power of the moon, the celestial body that is born dies and is reborn anew with every succeeding month. To harness this celestial power, the Sem priests wore a leopard belt fastened over a shoulder or hanging down the back. The connection was so strong that when no leopard belts were available, priests made linen versions of the hides and wore them in ceremonies. On the dagger, the leopard is attacking the male ibex along with a lion. And so, here, the imagery portrays the necessity of death. The ibex represents Osiris, who must die to be resurrected. In the same way, the king must do the same. The forces of doom must fulfill their mission if the world is to be saved by the magic of resurrection, and the king is to travel to the afterlife. The calf in flight. The final animal image on the knife is a young bull in flight. This animal symbolizes the young god King Horus, the child of Osiris and Isis, who survives the best efforts of the forces of darkness in the form of Set, the god of chaos. As the young bull, Horus represents the triumph of good over evil, order over chaos and life over death. The image at the tip of the knife's gold sheath is a palmette. Egyptian palmettes were initially based on the features of various flowers, including the papyrus and the lotus or lily representing Lower and Upper Egypt. From the earliest times, it had a strong association with the sun. Its V-shaped foliage or petals are said to resemble the hieroglyph for the word Ahet or horizon, the place where the sun rises and sets on its diurnal journey across the heavens, or the point where the sun touches the two mountains of the horizon, the place of dying and being reborn, and giving life to the earth. And so Tutankhamun's gold knife expresses the most fundamental of ancient Egyptian beliefs, that is, that life is a struggle between the forces of order and chaos, that good will triumph over evil, and that there will be life after death. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to press the like button, and if you never want to miss an episode of the Number of Thoth, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you for listening. See you soon, for another trip into the depths of ancient history.